My name is Tony Visconti, and I'm a record producer, and I've been doing this for about 55 years. I am in Metropolis Studios in sunny Chiswick, London, and we are recording drums to create samples for Toontrack. What we're trying to get out of this project is the ultimate drum sound. And with the very talented crew that I'm working with, we have achieved that. Every time our friend Steve Gilchrist hits a drum, there are 29 microphones picking up that single drum. You could make these drums sound like they're in a small nightclub, or you could make them sound like they're in a stadium. It is the first time I've been asked to record a sample library. My manager spoke to the Toontrack people first, saying, we'd like Tony to come and do kind of recreations of his drum sounds that he did with T-Rex and David Bowie, and I could think of about easily 15 other groups that I've worked with that I altered the drums for. I tailor-made the drum sounds for every one of those people, depending on the talent of the drummer and the style of music, the genre of the music. So to me, this is an incredible opportunity to leave a legacy of what I've done to everyone to play with these things, these sounds.
Well, my first thoughts when I discovered I was going to be working with Tony Visconti, I'm not sure I'm allowed to say, but damn, I better make it sound good because Tony is such a legend.
I am the boss of what happens in this studio. Everything goes through me, okay? If we get along very well in the studio, the artist and myself, I will make you sound the best you can sound.
I mean, he's such a cool dude. Super calm, relaxed, great stories. He kind of puts you at ease just through his aura and how he is, and words of encouragement.
This is serious business, and I have to be in charge of all of that. I have to make sure everyone is doing their job, but you can't bully people in this business. It just does not work.
Makes you want to do the best you can because, he's such a nice guy,
He's not come in and just sort of gone, right, I'll see you guys later. He's been here from beginning to the end. He is well entitled to sit back and look over the landscape that is his career and just go, yeah, job well done, but he's still doing it. And he has no intention of stopping.
Anyway, here I am 55 years later, still making records, and I enjoy the job very much. The main two people I'm known for are Mark Bolan and David Bowie. With Mark Bolan, I did about 8 to 9 albums. So I saw the transition from this psychedelic folk group into an electric group. Every day I get not every day, okay, I'm lying, but every so often I get a letter from a teenager, an email from a teenager who just discovered T-Rex. T-Rex will never die. I think in 100 years from now, you'll hear T-Rex fans, suddenly waking up to the phenomenon that is T-Rex. The other great reason why I'm well known is because of my long-term relationship with David Bowie. I met David Bowie in 1967 when his publisher was also my boss and said, we've got this young man who's got a great voice, he writes great music, but we don't know what to do with him. We had a great one-on-one meeting that day. It was meant to last an hour in the offices of my publisher. But then 6 o'clock rolled around and everybody had to leave the office. They were locking up for the day. So David and I walked down, we must have walked 2.5 miles, and we were talking the whole time about records that we like. So we've done about 12, 13, 14 albums together. It started out, whereas Mark Bolan started out as a discovery by me, David and I started out as a friendship. What I'm bringing to this is the more hard-hitting sounds I did with the drums. My boss, Denny Cordell, emphasized the fact that if the kick drum is not really up front in the mix, it's going to be a very bad mix. You know, it's going to sound like top heavy, you know, all the trebly instruments are going to take over. I'm not finished with a drum sound until the kick drum is first and foremost in your face. The next instrument is the snare drum. Those are the two drums that makes everybody want to dance. You know, move your hips from side to side, throw your hands up in the air, and feel the beat and feel the rhythm. And I tend to mix the drums a little higher in the mix.
How many records has that guy had that are significant, not only to the listener, but the next generation of musicians who listened to that record and, you know, became a musician or a songwriter because of it? He's responsible for that.
This studio, Metropolis Studio, is a gem in this part of West London. It is built in an old power station. You hardly find spaces this big to build a massive studio in. And this is a massive studio. If you look around, it's the room over there to my left where we're recording the drums is about 3 stories high. It goes up to the 3rd floor, just, you know, way, way up there. So it's a luxury to do that in this place. The microphones they have on offer here are incredible. They've used many of the mics that I used in the past and some that I didn't. But I'm going to have fun creatively making the sounds of my past, adding some of these other mics that I didn't have, that weren't available back then. You know, those sounds were done in the 1970s. It's a long time ago. We have better equipment now than the old days. Whenever somebody brings me an old piece of equipment, I go, no, I'll take the new one, thank you, you know. You have a choice. You have a choice of yesterday's equipment and today's, and obviously Liam's blended the two. So that's one great benefit of working at Metropolis Studios. You've got mics galore and the right ones. You know, when I collected a sample in the past, it was one microphone on one drum. These chaps did this audacious setup where they have, I was told, 29 tracks.
It's an experiment. It's a science lab. You're sat there, you're hitting it, no, you need that for, you know, you need that a little higher, no, we need it a little more like this, we need to change that snare drum. No, the tuning's not quite, the tuning has dropped. The detail is infinitesimal.
That's unbelievable. I had no idea Toontrack did that. But it does speak volumes for how good their packs sound when you buy a Toontrack pack, you know. I worked with Stephen Gilchrist many times as a percussionist. Then I heard him sit down at a kit at another session I did, and he's a phenomenal drummer. I had a few drummers in mind, but Steve just rose to the top every time I thought about it.
You want the truth or you want to make something up?
I'd love to hear the truth.
Tony sent me a message on Facebook and said, I've got a project, will you come on board? And then it was Tony, so I said yes.
He was the right person because he could be subtle. And I understood that to record these drum sounds, you needed a drummer who could work in a subtle way. I'm so impressed with that process. I never expected it to be done that way. So it's been a hard job. Like there's a big crew here working with like changing the drum kits, moving the mics in, taking them out. Liam goes back and EQs them again.
It's a great sounding control room. You know, it's quite big. Got lots of nice gear.
We have 2 consoles here. We have this enormous console here and this console behind me.
You've got all the toys you could possibly need to make a great record in that room.
It really did surprise me how far they went in getting all these variations and making each kit sound very iconic. So we started big and then started paring it down to a more tight, compressed sound, which we did in the live room.
Which is our biggest room, and it sounds really great because you've got lots of wood, rich sounding surfaces, which makes the room sound really nice. We've also got a stone room where we've put some ambient mics in there to capture that characteristic.
The first sound was the live room with no baffles.
We've been right in the middle of the room so we can get this big live sound.
The second sound was the live room, but with the baffles.
We wanted to change the sound a little bit on the more modern kit, so a bit more controlled. So with those, we brought in some baffles, some more carpets, and that was just to control the ambience of the room.
The third sound was going into this little studio behind me, which is, it must be 1/6 of the size of the big room. That's kind of the dead sound, implying that there's no reverb. Not that it's a dead sound. It's quite a live sound, but it's got more impact, less ambience. So those are the three major flavors you're getting here.
Yeah, another unique thing I think that we've got in this pack is a sizzle cymbal. It wasn't something that anybody had thought of until Tony turned up and went,
"Where's the sizzle cymbal?"
And Mark went away and he came back the next day and goes, "Yeah, I've been listening through to a lot of Tony's stuff and yeah, it's very prominent."
See, a normal cymbal goes psh, like that. But with the rivets in there, you hit it psh, like that, then you hear bzz, 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 you hear the rivets buzzing, you know.
So we've got this beautiful 1950s ride cymbal, and these days we don't punch holes in 1950s cymbals. So we've got a sizzler that's on the cymbal.
It wasn't a cheap way of doing it, it was just another way of getting that sizzle cymbal sound. So it had to have a sizzle cymbal if it's going to be the Tony Visconti drum kit, you know.
On one of the drums, one of the snare drums, we used one of Tony's production tricks. Now, this is one you would have heard of.
Now, the thing with the tea towel on the snare drum, that was a big sound of the 70s because snare drums are made to ring. But in rock music and in funk, like soul music from the 70s, they didn't like that ring, they liked a thud. The same thing was achieved by the drummer would just say, "Oh, you want it dead," and he'd take out his wallet and put it on the snare drum. And one or two wallets did go missing as a result.
And when you hear it, it will be that backbeat that you recognize from so many records. It's almost like this sort of a little light-hearted punch into a pillow. It takes off sort of all the top end.
Well, it was such a iconic sound of the 70s on snare drums, and we emulated that here. To get a good drum sound, there are distances that are the best. Ideally, you want to put the snare drum mic on top. You don't put the microphone right up close. You might have to draw it back a few inches, but the drummer will hit it. So there's all these tricks. I saw a film once where one of the actors was playing a sound man, and he had a shotgun mic. And it was a very, very long mic, like a small rifle. And he would aim it right at the actor who was speaking. And obviously it was very, very directional. So if somebody was speaking to maybe about 3 or 4 feet to the right of that actor, it would hardly pick up the voice. And I said, "Why don't we have that in the studio?" I had never seen a shotgun mic in a studio. And I said, the best thing you could do is to record the snare drum from a distance of several feet, instead of that microphone going right in, which is in the drummer's way. It's always in the drummer's way. So we did that many years ago. I used it on a lot of records I recorded in the 70s and 80s, and it always was a great sound. Well, the team was fantastic. Norman and Damien, who are from Toontrack, they know what they need. They've done it before, and they've done a great job. I'm a client. I get Toontracks every day in my email, you know, to tell me what I need from them. So they are the experts. And Liam came along, and he got right in the club. You know, he understood what they needed, and he's one of the finest engineers I've worked with. He knows his stuff.
Everybody's super lovely. I kind of wish all clients were as nice as, you know, the team that we've got here. It's been a really easy, lovely session to be on.
Everyone's really enthusiastic. It's getting a bunch of geeks together to talk about drums and play them every day. I can imagine this being most people's nightmare, but it's been lovely. It's been really nice. I promised I wouldn't cry.
This is why I do this. It's such an enjoyable experience to be part of a team. And to be asked to be part of this team was just an honor for me, that I could have some influence over it. One of the Toontrack guys put a drum kit together from the stuff we've been recording. And I heard, and it was flawless. This whole program?
Yeah, it's cool music. Yeah.
I love these stone, I love the ambience. I never heard a drum application like this ever. It's the best I've ever heard. You thought that was absolutely real drums. Well, it is real drums, but the way you're hearing them is revolutionary, the way Toontrack does it.
When you put it on, you hit the bass drum on your electronic kit, it's like you're sat behind your acoustic kit. So close your eyes, it should feel like you're playing on your favourite acoustic kit, or the one you wish you had but you can't quite afford.
I've used every possible drum substitute and drum sample application out there, but this company's doing it the right way, the best way possible. I cannot wait till this kit comes out so I can use it myself. Honestly, this is just the best thing since sliced cheese, as they say. Wow. Bravo. Fantastico. Wow. That's great. Well, with 8 drum kits and a very talented drummer who could really do the trick of playing very loud and very soft, I am convinced that we have everything we need. All the anomalies have been taken out. It's just pure drums. And they sound, believe me, they sound gutsy as a result. They don't sound clean. They sound more solid than anything I've ever heard. This is perfection incarnate.